Let me check if we are actually live. And we are. Alright. I'm gonna share this stream in the Discord. There we go. Okay. I'm planning to also analyze some stocks or crypto in this live stream and press the record button to also upload some videos. So it's not only gonna be the Nasdaq we're gonna look at in this stream. If Nasdaq wants to continue the buy model we put in this morning, really nice bounce from a level, 750 level, also support zone that originated the last up move towards all-time highs. So that was a great zone to bounce from, and that is exactly what happened. If we entered the buy model right here, you want to protect the lows and just continue trading up. And all fine and fun and games when we have SMTs on the highs like this, but if we are bullish, they're just a magnet for ES in this case to also continue trading up. We also broke hard outside of this local range we were in. We had this London low and this high we put in, and the whole day until New York opened we have been trading in these two in between those two zones. So we can get rid of this. Nice step into our first value gap of New York open, and we're just blasting up. So let's get rid of all this. So we have a clean chart. And there's a great possibility that we can trade towards new all-time highs. If we don't, then you want to see this zone get lost. For now, if we're gonna build some more local price action, then of course things can change. But for now, up until proven otherwise. And the first level to look at is 24,900. Trader Cage. What up? What up indeed, brother? Okay. For the people that are following the channel, you will know about this stock. Uploaded a video about it and doing what we expected. Since we made the third tap, we broke bearish and we tapped it to the supply zone I pointed out. This was a supply zone you want to hold to continue your downtrend we put in eternally in combination with your higher time frame. And from here you just expect new lows. Let's zoom in a bit. If you got some local break right here again. Pretty much equals, I think. Small liquidity hunt. Not the nicest structure. So this would be your structure pool that brought you towards a high the last time. Also on the 1 hour. So once again locally in this trend, if you're gonna break this, then you can expect more trading towards the downside. Amazon doing Amazon things. Let's see if there's something we can make a video about. Quickly peek at NQ. PLTR really close to all-time highs. And a bit of supply right now. So logical that you can see some rejection from there. No reason to panic. You still expect higher highs and higher lows. Could be a great zone to continue your trend if the market needs to come down a bit. Nice zone as well if you look to the left. So two POI zones to look for local continuation plays towards the upside on PLTR, Palantir. Small liquidity build up right here. And just create zones to tap into if you want to continue your trend. So two zones I would watch locally to continue your trend. Could you do Avantis? Alright, that's an interesting one. And we're also gonna make a video about that one. It's a crypto coin, #1 in coin market. Oh, okay, interesting. A crypto coin. Oh yeah, it's also a really new coin, I see. When did this get listed? Tuesday. Last week? No, 2 weeks ago. Okay. Oh my, oh my. Either way, we're gonna start at the daily and we're gonna press this recording button on this coin. Okay then. There we go. Quick sip. Okay, we're gonna look at Avantis. Pretty booming crypto coin right now in the market cap. Also a coin that has been dropped recently on the Binance chart. It is since Tuesday 9th of September. And I want to look at this chart in this video from the live stream. First thing that really stands out, big wick right there with a small rejection towards the downside to continue your trend. Also on the daily it looks interesting because it has just been up until proven otherwise. There's not a lot of price data, so we can zoom in pretty quickly. Also interesting, we got this wick and from there people started selling. And as a reaction of that, you're gonna get in more sellers that want to push price down again because they think, okay, it's a new project, we lose trust in this and we want to lose our positions and trade lower. You can see right here, we got more rejection towards the downside, sellers trying to take over, they fill. From here you started trading up again, so this is a nice demand zone to also draw in our chart in combination with this big wick to maybe continue looking for longs if price wants to come down here. You can also draw this in as a big zone, but I'm just gonna do it with an arrow so my chart keeps clean. Bit of structure just before we traded above this big wick again, as you can see right here. Also something you want to have in your chart because this is really the last place where sellers try to push price down to make some profits on a new coin that is being listed and people are too bullish on. Well, they fill and you can see the aggression towards the upside right here. Also a zone to have in your chart. 3 POI zones. Let's look at what is locally happening. First things we see, a range. We are in an uptrend. So we are gonna draw a range from top to bottom, and we can already see we have one deviation on the high, which can mean that whales or the market makers that have push price up on this coin are trying to get rid of their positions right here to target the lows again and take profits on the highs. So this is an interesting deviation on the high on this range. Let's see. Skip the song real quick. There we go. Let's zoom in a bit more to see what locally happened at this high. We deviated the range, so we're gonna extend the range as well. Already tipped into a supply we left behind. Can indicate that we already have a third tap, but we don't know for sure, so don't get ahead of ourselves and put a dot in there. We have to find out if market makers really are trying to lose their positions right here. On the 1 hour, I want to look at our structure. Yeah, this is just one structure pool. There's not really clean candle formations towards the upside. I wouldn't draw this in a structure even though it looks like we had a pullback here. That is correct, but the candle formations aren't the cleanest. So I wouldn't treat that as a structure low. For that, we're gonna look at a lower time frame. Then this is a nice structure low to watch. You can see we also swept it. Was also pretty much your extreme liquidity of this whole up move towards a new all-time high on Avantis. So of course we're gonna get a reaction from that. But if you look at our 15-minute structure, we had a structure pool right here. So if we were really bullish, you wanted to see price hold this low and continue your uptrend from here to trade towards new highs. If we draw in what happened here, we swept it, which is fine. If we do this, it's not a break of structure. You can still create highs. But it doesn't happen. We tap into the extreme supply I talked about. And from there, we really started trading towards the downside. And right now, we broke that structure as well. We could extend our structure low towards here because we took it out one time. But I think the picture is clear that we have a change of character towards the downside, and right now we expect on the 15-minute we're gonna make lower highs and lower lows. If this step into this extreme supply was enough. If this isn't enough, we can still see Avantis coming up. The cleanest way to come up was with a bit of grindy price action to create a lot of liquidity on the lows, which the market makers can target if you deviate the high once more. From there, get a break of structure towards the downside, look for a local entry, and then you can target at least the range low, but maybe even runners towards all these higher time frame zones I pointed out at the beginning of this video. Let's zoom in a bit more. The 15-minute. This is your structure high to hold. So if you want to continue our trend down, you're gonna hold this high and trade lower. If not, because we don't have a really nice clean break of structure on the higher time frame, we can push through, trade up, and then go towards range high and take that out. And otherwise, yeah, there's not really anything else that is gonna hold you down here apart from this point. But then we already broke structure again. So we expect higher highs and higher lows in combination with our higher time frame trend, which is still up. So it can get a bit bearish on Avantis, but right now there aren't the cleanest indications that they are already selling positions right here. And if they already did, then we're gonna protect this local high and trade lower towards a range low. If not, then this range high is a thing to watch if we get a deviation and a local indication that we can trade lower. If they don't want to sell their positions and continue the trend, we can of course trade higher, maybe use the old range high to continue our uptrend and just keep pushing this coin up. So yeah, that is Avantis for me. That was a quick recording. L Trade Crypto 993. Hey Smith, how are you? I'm doing fine. How about you? New coins are always good to trade. Clean PA. Yeah, absolutely. Looks pretty good in my eyes. I didn't want the video to be too long. New all-time highs on NQ? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, let's continue this momentum towards the upside. Yeah, expected. After we broke out of the range this with this aggression, then you can expect it. I want to dive a bit deeper into the local price action of this coin. Don't want to do that too much on a video because then it's gonna get too long and too complicated. But in this live stream we have a bit more time, so we can go a bit more in depth. Trade it down, tapped to this extreme supply zone. Locally, pretty nice short right here. Big aggression towards that local technical target as well. But what is nice to see is if this was set up to only take out local liquidity and then continue to push up to deviate the high once more, then we wouldn't have protected this high. But if market makers really are selling at this high, then we're gonna protect it and continue the downtrend. Well, what can you see? Small supply right here. You can also refine it like this. You can see we tap into this supply and from there we trade it down again, taking out this low and continue our trend. What does this mean? If market makers are protecting their position, this is also gonna be a relevant supply, which we can tap into to also continue our trend lower. So that is something I want to add on Avantis as well. Yeah, that is pretty much it. But we can also just continue lower from here, locally. Micron Technology also made a big move, pretty trending right now. That's a stock, I guess. Oh yeah, I see it. Nasdaq. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay, let's also press the record button on this one. Let's have a look at Micron technology, because it has been pumping a lot the last couple of months, and right now we have made a new all-time high with a lot of aggression. So let's look at what happened with this stock. If you look at the monthly, it's a pretty old company that has been here for a long time. But since we broke out of this whole range at this bottom around your all-time lows, we came up with aggression. We have just been making higher highs and higher lows towards new all-time highs, and we did that once again. Tapped to a really nice demand zone right here. Let's zoom in a bit to see what happened here. Yeah, this was your last structure pull where price tried to push price down towards local liquidity. They fill, buyers take over, and from there we really started pumping up above the highs to the left, and in that case it was also towards new all-time highs if we zoom out a bit more right here. So this is a strong demand to have in your chart to continue your higher time frame trend with a higher low and then a new higher high. So nice step into a strong demand zone. One more thing I instantly see is after we made this all-time high, we came down and we had a big range for a long time. After we made this range that we had in this demand zone, we had a big aggressive candle down towards liquidity of the local range and a tap into this big demand zone, which was still left open. That is called manipulation. Whoops. Is this spelled wrong? Yes, it is. Not anymore. So we have the manipulation right here. This can indicate that the stock in this case is entering a power of 3. A power of 3 is a really strong, how can we call it? Trading strategy, maybe even. It is just an indication that market makers can be filling up positions to push price higher. It consists of 3 phases: the range phase, in which a lot of orders on both sides gets into the market. So it's interesting to take out either side of this range and then push price towards the other side. In this case, you expect bullish price action on the higher time frame. So if we're gonna get a manipulation at the bottom of the range, we can expect an expansion, which is your third phase of the power of 3, towards the upside. Your technical target in this case was the range high, but because on the higher time frame we are also still bullish, you could trade this towards new all-time highs. We can see that this perfectly played out, and we are just smashing all-time highs from here. Now we want to look how we can trade this move to also earn some money. First thing I see before we made new all-time highs. Same trick right here, same trick right there. A struggle point where sellers try to push price down, they fail, buyers take over and we make new highs. So an interesting demand zone to put in the chart. Also a nice place for Micron Technology to continue its higher time frame uptrend and then trade further up. Definitely a zone I would be watching. Let's zoom in a bit more because locally we could also maybe have some confirmations to trade towards some price discovery levels like 200. Yeah, this is your local price action to hold. From here you expect more upside. If we can't continue our high time frame trend because we just broke all-time highs and we have been bullish for a very long time, and eventually the market has to cool off, so it has to take out liquidity on the opposite side and tap into some sort of support to continue the trend. So locally your first indications we can go lower is losing this level combination with this low. If we're gonna do this, tap it to here, can't make a new high, flip this level, we can go lower, and then this is your first zone to watch for local confirmations we can trade higher again and continue our high time frame uptrend. Of course, this doesn't have to happen and we can just pump for a few days towards price discovery targets and maybe then price can turn around. But right now, this is what happened on Micron Technology and what you can expect on Micron Technology. Clean chart, Trader Cage. Thank you for sending that in. Picture perfect power of 3 almost. I haven't seen a range like this in a long time. Oh my, oh my. Let's have a peek at NQ. Not instantly a pump up again. Pretty much the same as the last time we made all-time highs. Just one tick above the old all-time high. From there we got a big rejection. Got in a lot of people that tried to buy right here. Me included. A bit of the same thing happening right now. Just a sweep of the all-time high and coming down, taking out some liquidity from people that just trade the momentum towards the upside and expect that Nasdaq instantly is gonna moon. So this is a good manipulation. Also a nice for value gap. Ooh, that's a front run. Not a bad thing to play something like this. Tested back a nice old high. Last high you put in before making your all-time highs. No, I'm lying. That is this one. Even though a nice high to test back. with taking out some local buyers. Good manipulation. Yeah, you don't need a lot more to continue your trend higher and target something like that. But that is a front run by one tick. Of course, right now you're gonna be break even on a trade. Okay. Micro strategies. Let's look at what happened there. High time frame. Still expect more downside on micro strategies, but locally we had some reasons to trade higher, at least towards this target of your range high. We just front ran that, took out extreme liquidity, tapped it to the supply we created there, and we just went down. It looks like we are continuing this trend, which could be fine because we already took out a lot of liquidity and your higher time frame trend is still down. So but if we want to keep being bullish on micro strategies for some higher time frame upside as well, you want to see price hold where it is right now basically. Let's not put in the big zone, just a refined zone right here. You would draw it in like this. Then breaking this locally can indicate we can trade higher again. So interesting to watch on micro strategies right here. Really nice pullback that brought you towards this low. So if market makers want to protect their orders they filled up at these lows, and we still want to take our range high, this can be a really nice scenario to trade. And from there we can see if we're gonna use this range high to trade towards this high, and if we're gonna break that high, your high time frame trend has switched from bearish to bullish as well. I see gold is doing gold things. Okay. Quick sip of the drink. Couple of live streams ago I talked about this level. Why? We tapped into a demand, swept nice liquidity, and from there we started trading up. Holding this level as support, taking out some internal liquidity because we couldn't trade up yet. From there we tapped into supply. I said if this liquidity hunt on gold wasn't enough to continue a higher time frame trend, we're gonna get a rejection from this towards other liquidity at the lows, maybe even towards this level to then continue the trend, or we had to flip this level and then trade higher, or we flipped the level and just continued pumping up. Another market maker accumulation range at gold. Let's see if we can spot that. It isn't in the chart, but you can see it right here. And locally as well. So you had this, and locally you had this. So indeed, a lot of confirmations that market makers are filling up orders to continue the trend towards the upside. Oil. There There we go. Finally some action on oil. Oil high time frame just looks amazing. Great range, really great return to zone, building up a lot of trend liquidity right here. Also potentially creating a power of 3, which a manipulation right here, in combination with a deviation of your range low. And right here locally, we're also building a range. So if market makers are trying to push price up here, we could get some local confirmations in here to target all the trend liquidity to the left as well. Chris, indeed. We broke out of this bullish pennant towards the upside. So let's get rid of this. And let's see if we can get some deviations at those lows. Crude oil can also still come down towards the range low, deviate it once more, tap into this demand, and then trade up. But this is gonna become really interesting really soon. What do we think of this cage? This is a chart if I've ever seen one. Volume is so low on this. Did you make a video about this one, by the way? Now I see the ticker. Yeah, I made a video. Yeah, I thought so. Then if you want to watch how how this chart looks more in depth and locally right now, you definitely have to watch Trader Cage's video or join the Discord. Then you are updated in real time throughout the day. Trader Cage can put a link, a invite link to the Discord in the live chat. Of course, it's also in the description if you are watching back this live stream. Then you can join our free Discord community. Like-minded traders, technical analysis, raw price action, liquidity, etc, etc. No strings attached. Yeah, there we go. Tapped it to a really nice price discovery level. Next level to watch is 950. Think things should click when I talk about round numbers like that. This is a bit unfortunate, but it is New York which we are talking about, so already live for over half an hour. Let's see if we can find one more thing to make a video about, and this then this live stream is over. I don't want to do the standard coins I have in my watch list. Want to have a quick peek at Bitcoin though, because we were pretty red on Sunday and today as well. There we go. Demand I've been eyeing on a pretty long time right now. If you look to the arrow, a big liquidity pool right here. A lot of resistance as well. If we couldn't take this out, we need more liquidity from the lows. You can see we can't take it out for 3 times. And this was the last pullback where sellers tried to push price towards liquidity on the lows. And then buyers really took over. broke above all the liquidity we had built up here. So this is gonna be a strong demand to tap into and maybe trade higher from there. So let's get rid of this, clean up our chart. We had a really nice market maker model on the highs. Technical target was this range low, but it was expected that we could go lower if we can't hold from there, which we couldn't. We broke below the range and traded lower. Let's get rid of this range. Clean up the chart a bit. There we go. A nice supply to flip or to reject if we can go higher from here as well, because there's still a really interesting liquidity trail on Bitcoin to take out here. Now the question is, are we gonna need this liquidity trail? No, we definitely don't have to. Why? If you have watched the streams a couple of times, you know we are in a power of 3 on Bitcoin as well. Range phase right there, manipulation phase at the lows. And right now we are expanding towards the upside. Does an expansion have to happen in one move? No, of course not. We can also do it with making higher highs and higher lows. So we still expect more upside on Bitcoin, but locally we had some indications of selling. So this is a zone that can bring us lower, or a zone that can bring us higher if you are gonna flip this. Okay, I see there's a request in the Trump's meme coin maybe. I have looked at that for so long, pretty trending. Okay, yeah, I haven't looked at it in a while as well, as you can see. Let's get rid of all this. Oh, I understand why it's trending. It took out all-time lows. Opposite thing of the all-time highs we are talking about a lot the last weeks. Monthly, the pump up we had when it got released, and from there just grinding down, creating lows. We took out all-time lows, so of course then it's gonna become a bit more trending. Okay, I have to start my recording. We took out all-time lows, so Trump coin is gonna get trending, because people can think, oh, we took out all-time lows, maybe we can trade higher from here. Or people are gonna sell their positions, of course, because they panic. But price action is gonna tell us everything if we can expect more upside from this all-time low. Of course, you can draw in a big range. A lot of trend liquidity being built up because we grind it down. And right now you have a deviation of that range low. Does that mean that we can trade higher? No, because it's at your all-time low. So things change a bit and you would have to watch locally for more. And a deviation, a first deviation, doesn't mean anything on itself. If we look at our structure on a 3-day, lower high, high low, but then we put in a lower high, broke below, making a lower low, lower high, swept this high, but from there made a new lower low again. If we look at our internal structure between this high and this low, we can see made a lower high here, lower low, lower high, and a lower low. So if you want to get bullish on your 3-day, this is gonna be your high to break. A lot of liquidity is being built up right here, so that can be interesting to target and trade higher. Let's zoom in a bit more. We had some untapped demand right here as well. Maybe we can close in this after this sweep. first rejection point, if you don't count the old lows. You can also draw this in as a box, like this. So these are the first places we can reject from on Trump to just trade lower, or could be nice levels to gain and trade higher. Are these equal highs? No, that's a liquidity hunt. Let's zoom in a bit more. So this is your first level to reject from if price wants to go lower. And this locally is the last pullback that brought you towards a new low. So if we are not going to reject from this supply and gain this high, we expect higher lows and higher highs. So we can use this supply zone, change it into a breaker block and use it to trade higher. Then we can maybe gain this 3-day structure high, put in a new higher low and then trade higher. Where can we put in that higher low? Right now we don't have any price action to use for extreme demand of our range, but if we're gonna create a extreme demand right here on Trump, we're gonna gain this 3-day high. It can be interesting to tap into that extreme demand and target at least the trend liquidity we have right here. This is the first zone where you have to watch out for an untested supply and the end of your trend liquidity. But then your range high can be your technical target if market makers are filling up new orders on Trump. But right now, of course, it is still down until proven otherwise. Your trend is down, you made new all-time lows, so you expect more downside. So patience is key on Trump, but it can get interesting. Definitely have it on your watch list though. Alright, that was Trump. Keep it simple, keep it short. Let's quickly look at Nasdaq and then we're gonna end this stream. Small consolidation at the price level of 24,900, of course. But new highs are still expected. Okay, well, thank you all for being here. For the legends that are watching this back, I hope you pulled out some value out of this stream. And I hope to see you in the Discord. And then I will see you guys all in a new video or live stream later. Ciao, ciao.